What's up guys, this is TheKephas, and in this video I will be showcasing some new macros that I have created for World of Warcraft patch 8.0 using a mod called Gnome Sequencer Enhanced. For the purposes of making these macros available as soon as possible, please understand that this video is not a class guide. It will focus exclusively on the macros and how to use them. But don't worry, I fully intend to make new class guides once we're a bit deeper into Battle for Azeroth. Today, we will be taking a look at the macro that I have created for Discipline Priests. Here, you can see me using it to level up in Drustvar. This macro should work in pretty much every situation at just about every level, using new abilities and talents as you unlock them. Now, I will say that this is the first time that I have ever tried to play and macro a Discipline Priest, because it's a healing spec, and I really don't ever deal with those. But part of Discipline is damage dealing, and because of that, I was able to make a macro. And of course, this macro is going to focus on the damage side of Discipline. I was pleasantly surprised with how easy it was to macro a Discipline Priest, and also how much fun it is to play. But of course, when it comes to the healing aspect, you're on your own. But the good news is that this macro covers your entire damage dealing rotation, which at the very least could allow you to focus more on healing your allies. Now, there really aren't a lot of damage dealing abilities in the baseline rotation, but the most problematic of them was Shadow Word Pain. Now, of course, you only want to use this ability to refresh the dot, and if I put it in the macro outright, it's going to use it all the time. So the workaround was to put Shadow Word Pain in a cast sequence line with 2 Penance casts. The cooldown from Penance will act as a buffer, and prevent you from overcasting Shadow Word Pain. But the cooldown timer is not in perfect alignment with the dot, so the way it's set up, Shadow Word Pain will fall off the target for about a second or two before it's recast. If you don't like how this works, you could always remove the cast sequence line from the macro and replace it with a cast Penance. That way the macro will still use Penance, and then you could use Shadow Word Pain on a separate button. Also, keep in mind that Penance is a channeled ability, and the macro is designed to not interrupt your channeling, but to play it safe, try to let up on spamming the macro whenever you're using Penance. Beyond that, the macro will summon your Shadow Fiend on cooldown, and then use Smite as filler. Now, the macro is also designed to work with pretty much all of the talents in your new talent tree, which should give you the freedom to choose whichever ones you want. But to make sure that you have a full understanding of how the macro works with these new talents, we're going to go over each tier one by one. In Tier 1, you have 2 passes that don't affect the macro in any way, but if you decide to go with Schism, the macro will use it on cooldown. Tier 2 is a utility tier, so let's skip on to Tier 3. Shield Discipline focuses on Power Word Shield, so it doesn't really affect the macro in any way. Mindbender is a simple replacement of Shadow Fiend, so the macro will simply use it in the same way. And if you choose to go with Power Word Solace, the macro will use it on cooldown. Tier 4 is another utility tier, and Tier 5 focuses more on your healing abilities, so we're going to skip on down to Tier 6. Purge the Wicked is a simple replacement for Shadow Word Pain, which will continue to work just fine in the cast sequence line of the macro. In fact, this increases the duration of the dot by a few seconds, which pretty much ensures that the dot will never fall off the target before the spell is recast. But Divine Star and Halo are both great spells, which will be used by the macro on cooldown if you go with either one of those 2 talents. But just be mindful whenever you choose one of these 2 talents. If you're not careful, you may attack enemies that you didn't intend to attack. Now, as for the final tier, once again, it focuses more on the healing side of Discipline, so there's nothing really to go over. And that's basically everything you need to know about these macros and how they work. Remember, these macros work best when they are spammed, so either press the button as fast as you can or use a rapid fire button, which is fair game as long as you're the one pressing the button. As powerful as these macros are, they are far from perfect. So if you want to play the game at a high level and get the most out of your class, I highly recommend that you play the game without these macros. But if you'd like to get started with Gnome Sequencer Enhanced, you can do so by downloading and installing the mod. A link can be found in the description below. Along with it, you will find paste bin links for any macros featured in this video. If you'd like to use them, simply click the link and you'll be taken to a raw paste bin of the macro. Select the entire macro, copy, log into the appropriate class, type /GS to open the Gnome Sequencer screen, click on Import, paste the macro into the available space, Make sure that automatically create macro icon is checked, and click import. You can now drag the icon to your action bar and the macro is ready to be used. If you followed all the steps correctly, the macro should be working fine. If something isn't working, start over and make sure that you follow all the steps correctly. If you are having further issues, I recommend that you check out the mod page or contact the mod's author for more information. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.